What's up, everybody? I'm going to get right into it. This just happened on Ariel Helwani's show that is going live right now. It still hasn't concluded, but he had Gable Steveson on to talk about his recent LFA debut win in mixed martial arts, which was incredible, and we're going to make a whole separate video about that. But this is about something that he just mentioned, a potential fight against Craig Jones at the CJI2 event. This is a BJJ competition, I guess owned and operated and even overseen by Craig Jones himself, who is I believe a self-proclaimed like BJJ wonderkin. He's supposed to be like amazing at BJJ. He coaches a lot of fighters and helps them with their ground game, etc. But anyway, so there was this match, and the report was that Gable Steveson had to pull out due to toe turf, I think it's called, due to a toe injury. So the match was intended to pit acclaimed BJJ competitor Jones, Craig Jones, that is, against this guy, Olympic medalist wrestler Steveson, exploring the dominance of wrestling versus jiu-jitsu. Okay, and then I guess Gable Steveson had to withdraw, whatever. Now, before we get into what Gable Steveson said, I looked this up because I was like, what the heck is going on? This is crazy if this is true. I wanted to know if the CJI is commissioned, if there's a commission overseeing it, right? Like we usually have for boxing and MMA, you have the California Commission, the Nevada Commission, etc. So there's certain stipulations that these fight competitions or tournaments have to follow. But it says CJI2 was, this is just the AI overview. See, because I believe this to likely be true, because otherwise we're talking about a huge scandal. CJI2 was a submission grappling event and was not sanctioned by an athletic commission. Unlike MMA, grappling events are typically not regulated by state athletic commissions. So what does that mean? That means, well, it means a lot of things, but number one, it means theoretically, I imagine, okay, this is, now I haven't gone into the legalities of this. Maybe this is still illegal, but I imagine when there's no commission or no governing body, you could technically kind of do whatever. I'm guessing. I get, actually, I don't 100% know this to be true, but at least you're not going to have maybe as big of potential penalties for fixing fights. And why do I say fixing fights? This is crazy. So if you guys didn't catch this, like I said, this just happened on Ariel's show, and credit to Ariel for really digging and asking the right questions. This is why Ariel is the best in the game. Listen to this. This will blow your mind. Craig Jones, listen to what Gable Steveson had to say about Craig Jones and the real reason why he didn't take this fight. Okay, we're going to listen to it. And I think I got the gist of it, but we're going to listen again and then summarize after we hear Gable Steveson and Ariel go back and forth. Listen to this. This is crazy.
I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about Craig Jones, because you were in the news.
Sure.
You were supposed to compete against him. We've heard from him. We haven't heard from you. And so I'd love to know your side of the story. Why didn't that match happen at the end of August?
With who?
With Craig Jones.
Oh, yeah, that match was we came about in February. Match was gonna happen. We met up a few times. Everything was all good. Long story short, couple funky stipulations around there that we didn't agree upon. They wanted to keep it. I got turf toe and wasn't there.
So the previous story, I think even in August and whatever, was that he had a toe injury, toe turf or turf toe, whatever it's called, and he wasn't able to fight. But now he's saying that there were some stipulations, and then he basically goes on to say, then I guess this toe thing came about, but then he decided they whatever the stipulations were, he didn't explain it. He's about to jump into it in a second, and then he stepped out, kind of making it seem like the turf toe wasn't the main culprit for him to pull out, but maybe that's what they listed publicly, but he didn't want to take the fight because of these stipulations. He goes on to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I misunderstood this, but I believe this is what he is saying, is that he actually competed at multiple events in NCAA wrestling with the same injury, which basically is saying like, that's not why he pulled out. It was because of these stipulations. Okay, listen now. This is crazy.
Okay, can I ask what those stipulations were? What do you mean by that?
There was a look in the eye of saying, hey, can you do something for me? And that's about all.
Can you do something for me? What are you trying to say? What does that mean?
You know what I'm trying to say.
Can I ask what you're trying to say?
Yeah, of course.
Are you implying that?
I'm just trying to keep it as nice as possible, because when I came out of that match and I had turf toe, because I wrestled the whole NCAA season with a bad turf toe, which I got like the second duel of the season, and I went through the whole season with it, even the NCAA finals and everything. So it was lingering, but when it came back, I was like, I can't have another mishap of me falling to someone in a way that's not possible. So that's why I had to pull out. But before that, if you really want to know, there
Yeah.
was a look in the eye of saying, hey, I'm gonna retire after this match. I don't want to take this loss. Can you do this for me? And we'll leave it as that.
So he's saying what he's saying is that Craig Jones said I guess he's saying that Craig Jones told him he was going to retire after that match. Can you take a fall? Because I don't want to go out on a loss. He was trying to fix the match. Like, that's crazy. And this is his own event. Like, isn't that's blowing my mind? Like, even if you're not, even if you don't have a commission regulating the fights and doing all these things, but if you're trying to build this into something bigger, like, this is a big deal. You're trying to build this into a major BJJ competition. I think he's trying to become the foremost authority on BJJ, or in terms of a tournament where you see the best fight the best and whatever. He's trying to fix a fight with himself. That's crazy to me. I feel like that destroys the legitimacy of this competition if these things are happening. And he himself at the top, it's not even like other fighters are trying to fix fights or do different things, but he's trying to do it himself. I don't even understand how this organization is going to survive after these allegations. I believe him for one. I don't think he has any reason to lie. Anyways, keep listening.
Okay. So in other words, you are saying that he asked you to basically lose to him on purpose, like to work the match? And you
Yes.
didn't want to do that. And so did you get hurt before that or after that?
I was actually lingering the whole time. And so I was kind of baseline and then just stepped wrong. And, turf toe, like Joe Burrow just got turf toe and he's out for 3 months. It could just pop up, whatever. And I was dealing with kind of a lingering battle and just tough.
When you were approached with this idea, and the reason I'm asking you all this, Gable, is because, as you know, he's very outspoken on social media. And so he has said a lot about you, even in the aftermath of your win.
Yes.
So I just want to be able to get your side. Did that ever come up in the buildup? Like when you signed in February, did it ever come up that this was going to be asked of you?
No, I was looking at an exciting match. I was looking at a match that we were going to go out there and sell tickets for and go out there and put on a good show. Eventually the question did come along. We sat, we thought, we disagreed. We went back to them. As time got closer, just popped up with a bad injury and just had to focus on my next thing. And my next thing is putting the gloves on and making sure that I could take care of what I need to take care of.
There was an implication that the reason you didn't compete against him was because he's at odds with the UFC. Did that come into play at all?
No, I'm sure the UFC does not care. I mean, the UFC has UFC BJJ. They got to take care of their own business. And this is another person's business that we're talking about. So I don't believe so. I have no recollection of that either.
And you stayed pretty quiet as all this was happening in the build up to his event. Was that difficult for you as you're seeing all of this probably?
No, man, you've talked to me so many times. I personally did not have any ill intention with pulling out of this match. My foot, like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go out there and just limp around and not look good for anybody and make sure everything just runs down a hill that it doesn't need to be run down? I stayed quiet because I'm a man. I'm not going to go out there and speak bad about somebody because something's wrong or something didn't go my way. I look at things in a different way. Maybe he doesn't because he hasn't accomplished anything in his field. He's lost to Gordon Ryan about 3-4 times. His team, the B team, won the Craig Jones Invitational, but probably shouldn't have. So that's a weird thing too. So I think he's got a lot more digging than worrying about me.
Okay.
So he just threw out some other weird allegations saying the Craig Jones team won and they probably shouldn't have. I don't know. I don't watch this stuff. I have no idea about the CGI invitationals and these BJJ competitions. Obviously, I'm an MMA fan, but it's a little confusing to follow because he's talking about them asking him to throw the fight. I guess he wasn't necessarily opposed to it because he was they were talking back and forth and he was going along with it. And then he's saying ultimately I think that's what he's saying is ultimately it was the toe injury that popped up, wouldn't go away and led him to pull out because he said he'd be hobbling around and it wouldn't have been, I don't know. So I don't know if it was the combination of the stipulations and the toe injury that led him to pull out or just the toe injury alone was it. And he was actually going back and forth with potentially taking a dive. I guess this is so weird. This whole thing is crazy. Anyways, thankfully, I'm glad he didn't do it. I'm glad he didn't have to go through any of that. And I'm glad we get to see him in MMA now. Had his debut. We're going to talk more about that at the show. And I'm going to make a separate video as well. But he had an incredible debut. So Man, props to Gable Steveson. This guy's a legend. This guy is going to be a superstar. You can tell how awesome he is on interviews. He's so just like straight up, authentic, honest. I also feel like he's careful when he answers questions from Ariel because he's boys with John Jones. People probably told him, hey, you got to like, watch out for some of the questions and from Ariel, because Ariel's a good journalist. So he'll sneak some in there and maybe get you to say things that you technically shouldn't have said because it can ruffle feathers or whatever. So he's very careful, very calculated, but really intelligent guy, obviously highly skilled. Can't wait to see him dominate. Dude, this guy could be the future of MMA for real and just bring a lot of excitement to the heavyweight division. So I can't wait to see him keep going. But anyways, this is a bombshell in my opinion. Maybe I'm overplaying it, but let me know what you guys think. Is this a major deal that Craig Jones is trying to fix a fight with himself in his own organization? Or you think it's like whatever? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.